What's up, YouTube? It is your guy, Hector. Welcome back to another Tuesday night of the Hot Stove Report on this Tuesday, January 16th. Tonight, I'm joined by my main guy, my guy, Rich Rivera from Empire State of Baseball. Rich, how you feeling tonight, my guy?
Doing good, Heck. I'm trying to stay warm on this Tuesday evening, getting pummeled by snow here today. I actually did some research, if you don't mind. 1.4 inches of snow approximated at Central Park, and this is actually the first time the city has saw more than an inch of snow since February 13, 2022. So it's been a while since we had some snow like this, but we still have a long winter ahead of us. But thank God we're just under a month away from pitchers and catchers.
No, I'm right there with you. And today, when it was snowing today, and folks in the chat, let me know if everything's good when it comes to the audio. I'm just getting some feedback on my own. It's not you, brother. It's just me. But yeah, today I was realizing, I was like, yo, it's been about like 2 or 3 years since it's like really snowed in New York City, where you've had to like throw the salt out or you've had to shovel or anything like that. I know different parts of the tri-state area, like Jacob Petruzzi, he got 5 inches in Connecticut. That's a little bit crazy. I know New Jersey got hit. I know upstate New York got hit. Buffalo, the Buffalo Bill fans are upset because it's crazy snow out there and the NFL is rigging it for the Buffalo Bills. But no, if you guys are out there in the tri-state area, and if you guys have been impacted by snow, if you're even outside the tri-state area and you've been impacted by snow, just, stay warm. Like Rich said, it's good to be warm. Stay safe as well. If your heat is not that well or good in your house, stay away from using the portable space heaters, because those are very flammable. Just be careful, right? We got baseball, but we got PSAs on people to be careful, right, Rich? You got to be able to have a perfect balance.
I got a space heater right behind me, Hector. So I'm glad you threw that advice out, because I was going to throw it out overnight and probably burn to death. So thanks for that.
we don't need that to happen. I'm gonna do a little bit of roll call before we continue. Like I said, I saw my guy Jacob Petruzzi in the chat. Jacob, how you doing? My guy Jonathan is in the building. Jonathan, how you doing? Salute. Aiden Diwali's in the building. Aiden, I hope all is well. Stephen B is in the building. Stephen B, how you doing? Happy New Year's. 01LS1Z28DABX, how you doing? Salute. Damian Serrano is in the building. My guy Damian, salute to you. Sean Browning is in the building. Salute to you. Gotta always shout out Damian and his chain. My man is always fly. Michael Caputo's in the building, and Caputo is already losing his mind in the comment section down below. So since we saw Michael Caputo, I'm gonna need everybody in the chat, if you guys can, please smack that like button for your boys. And if you are watching us for the first time, hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 3,000 subscribers. We are at 2856 at the moment. If I do believe, let me just refresh to make sure. Yes, 2856. So if you're watching us and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And since Caputo is losing his mind in the comment section, that means he's upset about Marcus Stroman. Rich Rivera, I'm going to throw it over to you to start off the conversation. What was your thoughts about my guy, Sir Marcus Stroman, signing with the New York Yankees?
Well, not to the level of Michael Caputo, but to the level of a lot of Yankees Nation, very mixed emotions on the Marcus Stroman signing. As I assessed it, Hector, and I hate to say it like this seems to just be an unholy alliance between two parties that were desperate and just did not have a plan B entering this offseason. And with Stroman, listen, there's good and bad. I'll give you some good.
Yes.
The good, team-friendly contract, 18.5 mil. That is definitely congestible for this Yankees team that definitely needs to make one or two more moves this offseason. I'll take an easy equation. You look at the Yamamoto contract that they were going to offer. It was going to be 30 million AAV. With their plan B, it seems right now, is let's distribute that 30 million AAV among multiple areas of concern. Stroman just earned 18.5. Luke Weaver just got $2 million. So by that math, you're looking at a $9.5, $10 million range that the Yankees can go that extra mile for if they want to acquire a reliever. So a team-friendly contract. Number two, the ground ball rate's going to play well in Yankee Stadium. Stroman's 56.9% with third in MLB amongst pitchers that threw over 100 innings at the least, just trailing Logan Webb and Alex Cobb. Now, listen, despite the pedestrian numbers at Yankee Stadium, that should still play well in the bandbox in the Bronx. And, of course, the last thing is his competitiveness. I love Stroman's competitiveness. I'm a big fan of players that wear their heart on their sleeve. Kind of like why I like Rodon a lot when the Yankees signed him. You know when those players are in it. And as a fan, I can grind with those players and say, like, hey, like, this is my guy right here. He's going through a big game, big strikeouts. He's showing you that emotion. Even gives up a big home run. It'll show you that negative reaction to it. If there's a skirmish on the field, he's one of the first people you hear out of the dugout. The bad, though, is the guy's online presence. And Hector, shout out to you for once again hopping on Dexter Henry's show the other day with the SNY New York Post Sports conglomerate there. And you said it best. If Stroman bothers you with his antics, just block the guy. Luckily for me, I was never friends with the guy, so I got nobody to block. But for Marcus Stroman, at the least, he's got to stay off social media if he can't control himself. He gets to this point where he's going after the organization that he plays for or played for. He's going after the fans. Sometimes they deserve it, sometimes they don't. He's going after members of the press. You can talk about the Michael Kay incident he had a couple of years back. He has to dial it back from the social media presence. Just stay off it, lock in, and block out those comments, Mr. Stroman.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. When it comes to Marcus Stroman, and for those in the chat that didn't see it, I'm about to play a clip right now. But like Rich Rivera said, I had the pleasure this Saturday jumping on with my guy Dexter Henry for his rapid rundown. And before I get into it, my guy Jacob Petruzzi, shout out to Jacob Petruzzi, because we was doing the watch along over on Playback with Jerry Ferrara Thursday night when the news broke that the Yankees signed Marcus Stroman. And like Jacob said, heck, when I told you about the news, you were pissed off, and I was pissed off at the moment. I'll play the clip so you guys can understand what I'm saying, but I'm about to play this clip right now. This is from Saturday. Like I said, I was on the SNY daily rundown with my guys, rapid rundown, with my guy Dexter Henry. So I'm gonna play the clip, and we're gonna come back to talk about Marcus Stroman.
Okay, I have Hector here, part of the Morning Brew sports crew. You the Yankees Morning Brew. You do the Knicks Morning Brew. I know you're a big Yankee fan, so I couldn't let you go. I had to give you a bonus question because we got to have this. This has to be come in. The Yankees, they signed Marcus Stroman, and there's a little history between Marcus Stroman and the Yankee fans, where some Yankee fans might be uncomfortable with this signing. How are you feeling about this signing? Do you like this signing? Is this a good one for the Bronx Bombers?
For me, as a Yankee fan, and again, this offseason, a roller coaster, anxiety, emotion. We didn't get Yamamoto. We got Juan Soto. And after losing out on Yamamoto, we were still looking, what is Brian Cashman going to do? What is the plan B? What is he going to fall back on? Is he going to trade for Corbin Burns? Is he going to sign Blake Snell? A lot of Yankee fans been trying to figure it out. Yankees Twitter has been going crazy ever since we lost out on Yamamoto, waiting to see what the secondary move is going to be for Brian Cashman. Marcus Stroman, when news came out that the Yankees were interested in Marcus Stroman, at first I was against it, knowing that he opted out of his contract with the Chicago Cubs. He left $21 million on the table. So I'm like, if you opted out of $21 million, you may want more than that. And I don't think I was comfortable for the Yankees giving Marcus Stroman 20 to $25 million a season. But for $18 million a season for this year and next year with an option afterwards, totally comfortable for it. He is an innings eater. He is a dog. He is a local New York kid that always pitches with a chip on his shoulder. Last year, if you look at his numbers for the first half of the season, he was in contention for the NL Cy Young.
Yeah,
he was not healthy in the second half of the season, missed a bunch of starts, had issues with his hip. But the one thing about Marcus Stroman, it was not an issue with his shoulder or his elbow, right? And I think going forward with the Yankees' injury history, that's something that I'm like, all right, cool. I'm solid if we bring in that guy. But again, what is the secondary move? Is it just Marcus Stroman and that's it? This is the roster that's going into spring training. I don't think Yankee fans will be satisfied with just this being the only move that Brian Cashman does. So whether that's Josh Hader, whether that's going out there trading with the Guardians, Emmanuel Clase, we still need to get another starter or another reliever for that bullpen.
That's going to be interesting to see what the Yankees do. But I'm glad that you're not being petty.
No.
You're not being in your feelings.
No.
You're okay with Stroman coming in, even though he had to block some fans and said some things about the Yankees. You're fine with that because you're out here trying to get another championship. That's what you want to see.
For you Yankee fans out there that do not like Marcus Stroman because of the Twitter antics that goes on, just block him. Just block him. That's all you got to do. Just block him. He won't see what you write about him. You won't have to see what he writes on Twitter. Just block Marcus Stroman if that's the case. But for me, it's Twitter. Everybody said some things 5 years ago that if they could go back in time and delete it, they could delete it. Marcus Stroman decided to delete and erase his entire Twitter feed when it comes to anything related to the Yankees or Brian Cashman. But the internet lives forever because the detectives at Yankees Twitter, they were out there and they found the receipts. But the stuff that he said about the Yankees or Brian Cashman when it comes to the team and the product on the field, it's not anything that I haven't said as a Yankee fan. With the amount of money that the Yankees spend yearly on their payroll, they should be contending for a World Series every year. They should be in the World Series every year with the amount of money that they spend. And that's all Marcus Stroman has been saying, really.
Yeah, you can't be mad at that. It sounds like he wants to win, which I know Yankee fans want to do as well, too. Well, see, look, we talked about that. We'll see, no drama with the Yankees.
No drama.
So that was good.
Again, shout out to my guy Dexter Henry for that one, having me up there. That's a guy that I can say that I'm truly happy that I've been able to call my friend, or I could call my friend. Sorry about that, folks in the chat. What was your thoughts? What was your thoughts on that, Rich?
Hector, what was your own thoughts on yourself from Saturday? You think you did a great job there?
I was kicking myself.
The fans think you look great. The fans love you here in the chat right now. You look fantastic. Great little sweater action. The hat, fantastic look on your end.
I went into Damian Serrano's closet, and that's why I found that outfit, because my guy Damian, he be sharp, Rico Suave. So I went in his closet and I took that outfit. Don't worry, Damian. I'm going to send it to the cleaners. I'm going to get it clean before I send it back to you. But no, when it comes to Marcus Stroman, right, I'm going to bring the Marcus Stroman graphic back up, and shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Once again, if you guys can, smack that like button. The MLB channel is in the building. Salute to you, my guy. Cruz is in the building. How you doing, Cruz? Salute to you. If you guys can, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button, and like Grace Monroe said in the chat, stay warm. Shout out to Uncle Grandpa Tats, who was in the building as well. When it comes to Marcus Stroman, this is what I'm going to say, right? We didn't get Marcus Stroman to be that second ace next to Garrett Cole. We lost out on Yamamoto, right? The Yankees don't value Blake Snell the same way they value Yamamoto. And I think that's the consensus around Major League Baseball just in general, because he's asking for 8 years, and teams, they're a bit hesitant to go 8 years. I've seen the reports 4 years with that fifth option. And that's where I would sit when it comes to Blake Snell. Like I said, the Yankees, they didn't value Blake Snell the way they valued Yamamoto. And I know it's easy for us as a fan base to say, hey, you're willing to give Yamamoto $300 million or $30 million a season, go out there and give it to Blake Snell. There's a difference, right? Yes, Yamamoto never pitched in the big leagues, but he was still young at 25 years old. I don't think the Yankees feel comfortable giving a contract to Blake Snell that is worth $30 million per season over the next 8 years. So they pivot to the trade market. The trade market, obviously, when it comes to a lot of the pitchers that we thought were available, the asking price may have been a little bit too steep. So the Yankees pivot to the next best option, and the next best option was Marcus Stroman. He has no qualifying offers that are attached to him whatsoever, so you're not worrying about that. You're not overpaying for Marcus Stroman. And like my guy Yankee World Aiden put out on Twitter, I had to bring this up there. He said Lucas Giolito over the last 2 seasons of 4.89 ERA, right? 4.70 FIP, 2.8 FWAR. But then you look at Marcus Stroman over the last 2 seasons, 3.73 ERA, 3.67 FIP, and a 4.8 when it comes to his FWAR. And you got to ask yourself, would you guys rather give Giolito $20 million and Giolito being a fly ball pitcher, or Marcus Stroman, who you got for $18 million and who is a sinker ground ball pitcher? And when you look at it, the last year on his contract, right, it has that option, but that option benefits the Yankees because if he doesn't pitch 140 innings, he won't get that player option. And if he did pitch 140 innings, you would think he would want to opt out to get more money. So in any which way, the language in the contract is what I like the most about it. What's your thoughts, Rich?
I'm with you. Like I said, one of my first points that I liked about the signing was the fact that it is team friendly, and the Yankees could be capable of doing some more moves around it. Lucas Giolito mentioned here in our graphic. This is perfect. Lucas Giolito is an example of a pitcher that got a contract that was a prove-it deal, but a lot of money back and in a 2-year contract nonetheless. I mentioned it in the chat, I believe, on last week's show, that we've seen a lot of these prove-it deals just increase over time in money. Frankie Montas earned $16 million and threw an inning. And Marcus Stroman, who had arguably a National League Cy Young Award caliber first half of last year, earns only $2.5 more million than Frankie Montas. I mean, it's crazy to think, and to think about it, it's a bargain compared to a lot of the deals we've seen. Luis Severino earning $13 million, which I think was a little bit up from the money that he should have earned. I think the Cardinals got it right with the Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn signings of 1 year, $10 million. I think those are your typical prove-it deals. But as far as the money goes, yeah, Hector, I think this is a great deal for the Yankees. It's everything else that you have to talk about that gets controversial with Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, and obviously, when it comes to the pitching market, you're going to have to pay for pitching. Nowadays, in 2024, you're going to have to pay for pitching, whether that's starting pitching or whether that's for the bullpen. You're going to have to overpay for pitching. And when it comes to $18 million for a 4th or possibly a 5th starter, I think that was an okay deal when it comes to the Yankees. And I get it. For you Yankee fans that are upset, I totally understand it. We lost out on Yamamoto. The asking price when it comes to Corbin Burns from Milwaukee was a bit too much. And then Milwaukee, at the end of the day, they're going to want to contend this season. So maybe, just maybe, we wait to the trade deadline and maybe something opens up when it comes to different trade possibilities. When it comes to the Marlins, Jesus Luzardo, he's going to cost you money. If Jackson Holiday was the asking price for Dylan Cease from the White Sox, Jesus Luzardo is going to cost you more because he has an extra year of control attached to him. So the asking price for starting pitching right now in this market is a bit too steep. The Yankees did a smart move signing Marcus Stroman. Like I said, he's not attached to any qualifying offers, and I think that's the biggest thing. My guy Ryan Garcia from Empire State Media says Marcus Stroman has an extremely unique stinker due to a league best deviation in his spin. When it comes to that, when it comes to his sinker, I think that was the reason why the Yankees were interested in Marcus Stroman. When you look at his WOBA, he has a 304 WOBA, a 344 slugging, a plus 15 when it comes to run value, and 61% ground ball. Half of that stuff, I have no idea what it was. I was just reading off the screen, but I'm gonna throw it over to Rich. Rich, what's your thoughts about his analytic numbers and him being a ground ball sinker in Yankee Stadium?
You expect me now to translate those hieroglyphics? I don't know. I'm right there with you. Yeah, listen, when it comes to Marcus Stroman, again, the ground ball rate, got to look forward to. That's why I'm a little intrigued on one of the names I mentioned, it's Marcus Stroman, Logan Webb, and Alex Cobb, the three best ground ball pitchers that have thrown over 100 innings pitched last year. Alex Cobb's a free agent. Is that a possibility the Yankees might go down and maybe just heavy up on ground ball like pitchers? I mean, for starters, if Alex Cobb is signed to this team, now Clark Schmidt's added to your bullpen, which might not necessitate can't say that word, necessitate a move to grabbing a reliever off free agency. It's almost like it's two moves in one if you add a back end starter like that. What do you think about a reunion with an Alex Cobb?
Cobb is more injury concerns when it comes to Cobb. I see my guy Acevedo in the chat saying Cobb is hurt right now at the moment. I'm not too sure. Okay. I got to look into that. But we have a lot of question marks when it comes to this starting rotation, right? So many question marks. Obviously, the health of Carlos Rodon, the health of Nestor Cortez. What is Clark Schmidt going to look like pitching over 150 innings? What is Marcus Stroman going to give to you? So we have 4 question marks right there out of our 5 starters. So I did a little investigating, right? Shout out to FanGraph because they did their projections for the 2024 season. We're going to go through the starting rotation. We're going to go through the projections that FanGraph threw out there. But before I do that, I want to shout out the chat. And if you guys can, smack that like button. We got over 60 people in the building. If you're watching us on Instagram, if you're watching us on Facebook, or if you're watching us on Twitter, click the link in the bio. Come join the conversation over here. I want to shout out a few people in the chat. Michael Caputo. Again, I'm not doing jumping jacks over a number 4 or 5 starter. Stroman is a mid-tier pitcher. Caputo, like I said, we didn't get Marcus Stroman to be an ace, a number 2 pitcher behind Garrett Cole. We got Marcus Stroman to be a 4th or 5th starter and to eat innings, right? And I get it. Like I said, I know fans are upset. We didn't get Yamamoto. We didn't get the big fish. And we had to pivot to a plan C, not even a plan B. My guy Acevedo with the $2 super chat. Buy Spencer Jones and get Corbin Burns and offer him $250 over 8 years. I'm going to pivot before I even bring up the starting pitchers and their projections. I'm going to pivot to you, Rich, because I know you're big over there in Somerset. You know, you got your own VIP box that's over there. You're going to see Spencer Jones this season. I'm going to ask you, bro, when it comes to Spencer Jones, you already heard me saying that the Yankees, if they make a trade, Spencer Jones is going to be in this trade. But I see a lot of fans really loving the possibility and the potential of Spencer Jones. What's your thoughts on Spencer Jones? And should we hold on to him or should we pull the trigger and put him in a package?
Yeah, I mean, if you're moving on from Spencer Jones, it's going to be for a Luzardo, a Cease type player. I still fear of making that kind of deal for Corbin Burns, who is going to be a free agent at the end of the year, who's not going to sign an extension. He is going to test the market, as he should too. One of the most elite pitchers in the game of the last few years. Unless it's a conversation, one of those top tier pitchers, you can't include Spencer Jones in a trade for the sake of making a trade. He's going to be a special player when it comes to it. He is an elite center fielder. I know we had talked about the possibility of him maybe playing around with first base, which is not official, but obviously with that 6'7" frame, it is something that is intriguing as a possibility down the line. But he is a great center fielder as is. So to think about an outfield, and also you have to see where you're at with Juan Soto. There's still no guarantee. I hate to say it, but there's still no guarantee the Yankees are going to sign Juan Soto after next year. So before you figure out what you do with Spencer Jones, who's your star player out in the outfield, you have to figure out what you do with Juan Soto. So I don't even know if he is a mention in a conversation before a Soto deal, it's an automatic no every single time.
Yeah, and I can respect that, right, when it comes to Spencer Jones. And you're right, when it comes to Juan Soto, it's not a guarantee. And I see a lot of people are already saying that. Could the Yankees even afford to re-sign Juan Soto? When you look at it, Juan Soto, he got $31 million when it came to his arbitration. Shout out to the arbitrations and the Yankees getting that money to him, but he's going to be making $31 million. When you look at that, when he becomes a free agent, his $31 million is going to be coming off of the books. On top of Gleyber Torres is $14 million, which is coming off of the books. Anthony Rizzo's $18 million is coming off of the books. I think Ian Hamilton's money is coming off of the books as well. So the Yankees, they will have some money freed up during this offseason. So you could take Juan Soto's 31 million and you could take 10 or even 15 million that was a holdover from Rizzo's contract, which is going to be gone, and give that to Juan Soto. He'll be making 40 to 45 million, and the Yankees will still be able to have some money to spend. My guy Stephen B in the chat said Stroman is an upgrade when it comes to the rotation. We have a good defense and allow him to thrive. I also like that the Stroman deal is team friendly and has an option if he's healthy. It triggers it in the second year. Absolutely. The language in the contract, you guys got to understand. We get the language that is involved in this contract. You know, credit to Brian Cashman, credit to whoever came up with the language and the opt-outs. I do like that. Like my guy Jonathan just said in the chat, we got 33 likes. We got over 60 people in the building. If you guys can, smack that like button. And again, if you're watching us for the first time, hit the subscribe button. So let's get into this. Let's talk about the projections. Folks in the chat, let us know about your thoughts on these projections. So again, this is according to FanGraph, right? Not everything is 100%. They don't get everything right. They don't have a crystal ball to see the future. But when you look at it, Garrett Cole, another season, 203 innings pitched. The projections is 10 and a third strikeouts per 9, 2.4 walks per 9, 1.3 home runs per 9. But his ERA, when it comes to these projections, is a bit alarming. A 3.73 ERA. Rich, you think Garrett Cole is going to decline that much, that his ERA is going to be basically more than a run and 1.10 extra runs this year?
I don't know where they got this projection from. I mean, I'm looking at Baseball Reference, and there's like a different deviation. They have him at a 3.33. So I wonder where they draw this up. No, I actually don't think he's gonna exceed the 3.50 mark this year. Again, Garrett Cole is top right now as far as elite starting pitchers are concerned, because we're in this weird time frame where I think baseball's coming off of the best of the best, and those players are fading out and getting hurt, and like Kershaw and Sergio Verlander. Cole right now, without a doubt, and this is not Yankee bias, he is the best starting pitcher in all of baseball. To see that coming off of a Cy Young year, that's very alarming, and it just seems like everything would have gone wrong for him following that season. Still a nice WAR there, but 3.73 I think is a little steep there on that projection.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't have his Baseball Reference numbers opened up for me. Maybe you do. But Garrett Cole last year, do you have his per 9 innings when it comes to home runs? I know it was under 1. I know it was like 0.7 or 0.9. So they have this going up almost 0.5, 1.3. So basically 0.4 points going up when it comes to his home runs per 9 inning. I can't see it. If you was to ask me if I was to put a bet down, I could see his ERA respectively going anywhere from 2.80 to 3.20, right? A 40-point difference right between there. That's what I can see when it comes to Garrett Cole and his ERA. But a 3.73 ERA, if Garrett Cole has a 3.73 ERA in 2024, it's not looking good for this team when it comes to the playoffs.
Absolutely, and especially he's going to be our workhorse. They got him at 200, so he's not going to miss time, according to FanGraphs here. So yeah, that's going to mean that's not going to mean good times for Yankee fans as far as the starting rotation goes. So I'm more inclined to believe what Baseball Reference has here for their projection. But yeah, I hope FanGraphs is really, really wrong.
Well, now I know that Baseball Reference is the better site. I should have went to Baseball Reference while I was prepping for the show. But I want to shout out my guy Damian Serrano, who says there is something to say about Stroman asking to meet with Cashman and sitting down to hash out the drama. He got props for that. That showed maturity. Absolutely, Damian. And this goes right into the next projections when it comes to Marcus Stroman. And I said it. The stuff that Stroman says, minus the stuff about the fan base, but the stuff that Marcus Stroman has said about the Yankees and Brian Cashman and the product on the field, Rich, let's be honest, that's not something that we haven't said in the conversation, right? When it comes to the Yankees, if you spend that much money, they should be winning a World Series every year. They should be in the postseason every year. At the bare minimum, with the amount of money that the Yankees spend, they should be in the ALCS every season. But that's not reality. That's not what has been happening. And that's a lot of the stuff that Marcus Stroman has said about the Yankees. What's your thoughts on that, Rich?
I mean, I'm also not featured on a kid's poster on their wall. And as a professional athlete, I think you have to have some sort of decorum, professionalism, professional athlete. you gotta have some professionalism when it comes to social media. And if you can't block out the comments, you gotta just shut the whole thing off. You're a Major League Baseball player making millions of dollars. Enjoy your millions playing a kid's game. To me, Stroman, I want to like the guy. It's a lot. He plays victim on a lot of these posts that we see. Listen, a lot of these fans deserve it. Some of these fans come out and they say some really awful, really racist stuff. Can't get behind that. Stroman himself, as a professional athlete, needs to kind of just dial it back and say, you know what? Got the greatest job in the world. I got to pitch. And that's what he has to do. If this guy just worries about pitching and not what happens on his social media feed, I think he can easily win over fans just by doing that.
Yeah. Point blank. Point blank. He could definitely, if you come here and you're a dog, like I said, Yankee fans used to hate Roger Clemens, and then he became a Yankee. Yankee fans used to hate Johnny Damon, and then he became a Yankee, right? So if you could win here with the Yankees, Yankee fans will forget about what happened in the past. I know I will. I don't want to speak to every Yankee fan that's out there, but I know if you help us win a championship and we're able to host up number 28 and we able to go celebrate in the Canyons and Hero, I'll be able to celebrate in the Canyons and Hero at a legal drinking age. I was underage in 2009. I wasn't 21. I wasn't able to drink, so I'll be finally of legal age when the Yankees are in the Canyon of Heroes, and I could get drunk as hell out there. But my guy DJ Stills in the chat, shout out to DJ Stills. Is Rivera rich? What's up, fellas? Shout out my guy DJ Stills. Go ahead, Rich. What were you about to say, brother?
No, you actually just reminded me that I had to throw it back. It was a rainy day. I was looking at some old photos and I saw the 2009 World Series parade. I was there because my dad had to bring me there because I couldn't drive out there. Was afraid to take the ferry out there from Staten Island, and I had braces on my face. I had acne all over the place. I'm like, my goodness, that's how long ago we've been to a World Series? Since then? We got to get back.
Oh, yeah.
This is not happening.
Oh yeah, I was going to school. I was going to school at the Borough of Manhattan Community College, BMCC, which was a few blocks away from the parade. So I skipped out of school that day. But I want to shout out Lorraine, who is in the chat. Let me know if I said your name correctly. But Lorraine 4NYY says, new here, like and subscribe. Lorraine, welcome to the Brew Crew. Familiar folks in the chat, you already know what to do. Shout out Lorraine and welcome them to the community. But jumping on over to Marcus Stroman and his projections, 167 innings. I'll take that for Marcus Stroman. If we're able to get 167 innings out of Marcus Stroman, I can take that. But when you look at the rest of the projections, 7.69 Ks per 7.6 Ks per 9, 2.9 walks per 9. When you look at the ERA 4.03. I would like that to lower just a little bit, but sign me up. 167 innings for Marcus Stroman. I don't think any Yankee fan out there would say that's a bad deal. 18 million for 167 innings. What's your thoughts, Rich?
Yeah, I think in the first year, I think this is an acceptable line for Stroman. I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth between Baseball Reference. They're actually kind of around the same projection. His ERA is around 3.89. So there's still, it's still going to be around that similar mark there. I think that is a very realistic line for him, and I think that's one that we can accept. If he's out there and he's pitching, dude, if he's making it up in the biggest of games against the biggest of opponents, I think Yankee fans will forgive him for this kind of line. But I think this is fine for Marcus.
Yeah, that definitely fine, especially for your number 4 or 5 starter in your rotation. My guy Mike Perez in the building says, I will confess I didn't like the signing initially, but if he shows up and wins, that's all we want. We'll forgive and forget and even love you for winning. You guys are making me feel old. Mike Perez, you ain't old, my guy. You well seasoned. There is a big time difference when it comes to that. I want to shout out everybody in the chat. We are over 2,862 subscribers. If you guys are watching us for the first time, hit the subscribe button, smack that like button. I think we are sitting on 40 likes right now. Let's run the likes up. Let's get to 70. We got over 70 people in the building. Let's finish having this conversation. And folks in the chat, let us know when it comes to the projections. What's your grade? An A, a B, a C, a D? What's your thoughts on the projections brought to you by FanGraph? Again, let's switch on over. We got Carlos Rodon. He's the next one up on the projections. 163 innings. 10.7 strikeouts per 9, 2.9 walks per 9. When you look at the ERA, 3.79, and I would say that would be a solid bounce back season for Mr. Carlos Rodon. Listen, if we could get 150 innings out of Carlos Rodon, I'll take that. But Rich, what's your thoughts on Rodon and his projections? And folks in the chat, give me an A, B, or C. What's your thoughts on the projections? Shout out my guy, NFE, the strike zone in the building. Go ahead, Rich.
I like the total innings pitch. I like the Ks per 9. I think with any projection when it comes to Carlos Rodon, it's going to be better than what Carlos Rodon did with year number 1 of his 6-year contract. I think we can just put that out there. You know, it's still like I'm happy to see if this was a real thing. Like I'm happy to see like this. He was able to stay on the field for the most part. But this is still not the Carlos Rodon who was signed to a 6-year deal. This is not that Rodon from 2021 to 2022, had a 2.67 ERA and 310 innings pitched with 422 strikeouts. Now, the 10.7 K per 9, that rate, you know, okay, that's good. That's a good step in the right direction. And hopefully by year 3, it sorts itself out. So you have a 379 here for Fangraphs. Baseball Reference has a 409. So, again, kind of in the similar ballpark right there.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, coming off of the season Carlos Rodon had last year, if we got 150 innings, hell, if we got 120 innings out of Carlos Rodon, I'll take that, especially when you compare it to last year, like you pointed out, Rich. And if you look at the graphic that's on the screen, you see Carlos Rodon in the back. I mean, he didn't even pitch that much. I couldn't even find a good picture out of Getty Images when I'm making this graphic for Carlos Rodon and for Nestor Cortez. When you look at Garrett Cole, Clark Smith, and Marcus Stroman, those are pictures from when they were pitching. Nestor Cortez was in the dugout when I grabbed that picture, and Carlos Rodon, he was sitting on a chair for the team photo. But on to Mr. Clark Smith. This is where the alarms start to happening. When it comes to the projections, 138 innings, solid out of Clark Schmidt. But it starts to elevate, right? 7.8 strikeouts per 9 inning, 3 walks per 9 innings. When you look at his ERA of 4.38 ERA when it comes to Clark Schmidt and his projections. If I was grading that, that's a C right there. That's a borderline C. I want Clark Schmidt to at least pitch 150 innings. I want to see how he looks pitching 150 innings, but I would love that ERA to be below 4. You can't have everything. You can't wish for everything. What's your thoughts on the projections for Clark? And folks in the chat, let me know what's your thoughts as well. My fault. Go ahead.
You got it, no problem. ERA comes down. He was at a 4.64 last year, so he comes down to a 4.38 in this projection. You know, the thing with Clark Schmidt, like I look at this one time period that Clark had where it seemed that he was going to have a guaranteed spot in the Yankees rotation, considering there was nobody else, and he seemed to be the only guy outside of Garrett Cole going every 5th day. I want to point back to May 19th to August 8th of last year, where he had a 3.12 ERA, and that's in 14 games started, 75 innings pitched. So a pretty good chunk of time throughout the season where Clark was pretty serviceable for a bottom-end rotation guy. And I would like to see that Clark Schmidt emerge at the first half of the season and not get off to the slow start that he had back in 2023. But for Clark, the ERA comes down, so that's nice. I think this is around where Clark will probably be, and I'm right there with you. I think you'd have to give that a letter grade C. But as a 5-starter, Hector, do you see that as a serviceable pitcher?
That's a very serviceable pitcher as a 5-starter, right? When I said my grade, I don't want people to think I was trying to downplay Clark Schmidt whatsoever. No, like Rich said, very serviceable number 5 starter, 4.38 ERA. Would I like to see him get a little bit more innings? Absolutely. I would love to see him bump up those innings to 150 innings. But again, you can't have everything you want for. I think the more alarming one who's probably got a worse grade than Clark Schmidt to me is Nestor Cortez. There's a lot of alarms when it comes to Nestor Cortez, a lot of worries when it comes to Nestor Cortez. I think the magic has faded out when it comes to Nestor Cortez. But according to Fangraph and these projections, 127 innings. When you look at it, 9.4 strikeouts per 9, 2.8 walks per 9 innings, a 4.18 ERA for Mr. Nasty Nestor Cortez. But when it comes to Nestor, like I said, that's going to be a D. I know he's bouncing back off of injury. And it may be very harsh grade for me, but Nestor Cortez, he looked like he was going to be the next best thing. Didn't work out. Obviously, his body broke down on him. Never really was a starting pitcher when he was developing in the minor league system. The Yankees threw him into that role. He was able to learn on the fly. So I think that season when he was amazing and was an all-star, we probably threw him out there a little bit too long. What's your thoughts, Rich, when it comes to Nestor? Was I a bit too harsh in the grading system?
A little, because kind of back on the Carlos Rodon thing, Nestor Cortez had a 2-year period between 21 and 22 where he was one of the best pitchers. He's arguably, if you really want to look at the stats, he was the best pitcher on the Yankees for those 2 seasons before Garrett Cole had his amazing 2023. Cortez, all-star in 22, 2.61 ERA in 250 plus innings, 266 Ks in those 2 seasons combined. Only 2 years removed from it. Listen, it was a tough year for Nestor. My question for you, though, based on what Fangraphs has, I'm guessing that little symbol means they're expecting Nestor to spend some time on the IL.
Yes.
That's just my guess. Okay. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's very likely. I mean, the likelihood that both Nestor and Rodon miss the same amount of time as they did last year is unlikely, but the chance that one of those two is going to miss some time this year, pretty likely. And I think Nestor might be that guy as well. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way down to a D, Heck, but I might go around that Clark Schmidt mark. I'd probably say C again on Nestor.
Pretty fair. Like I said, mine may have been a little bit too harsh. I want to shout out a few chats that are in the building. Uncle Tat says Clark Schmidt ERA doesn't tell the story about how he pitched towards the end of the season. I expect him to be much better. Absolutely, Uncle Tax. Damian Serrano also says Yankees must be the only team in MLB besides the Yankees. Shit, ignoring. What happened? When it comes to that one, but on to the rest of the starting rotation or the starting pitchers and their projections. One thing that I'm surprised, right, but at the same time, it makes me a little bit excited. According to Fangraph, we'll see Clayton Beater, we'll see Will Warren, and we'll see Chase Hampton pitching in the big leagues. When it comes to the, our prospects, I'm super excited about that. Rich Rivera, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What's your thoughts about Fangraph and possibly seeing the young kids this season?
Again, well, on Fangraphs alone, I like to see how they really came up with these projections. Some of them are wild, especially that Garrett Cole one. But with Beater, Warren, and Hampton, yeah, I'm excited. I think, listen, we've seen in the press that Warren is most likely going to get a look. They talk about a long relief role, but honestly, I'd kind of like to see what he has in the rotation, especially in a season where you're going in 3/5 of your rotation. Stroman, Rodon, and Cortez had missed chunks of 2023. So there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of reliance on your pitching depth outside of the main 5. And with Beater, Warren, Hampton, I feel good. One of the 3 coming up and doing some good things. You have Luke Weaver, Luis Heel rounding out the list as well. So the Yankees pitching this pitching depth is interesting because those 3 pitchers right there are your top 3 pitching prospects for the Yankees. So it's going to be a very interesting season in terms of their depth.
And I got a $10 super chat from my guy, NYY News El Numero Uno Ruben. He was supposed to be here with us, but he got stuck at work. He said he sent his apologies with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, Ruben, helping us keep the lights on over here, helping me buy different Power Ranger stuff. But Ruben says, I wonder if the projections is going based on Nestor's shoulder injury, because you could tell he lost control of his pitches due to the injury. If his shoulder is good, easy 3.5 ERA or better. Listen, Ruben, when it comes to Nestor Cortez, I am praying that he is healthy, right? I'm praying that we could get 50% of what Nestor Cortez was in those 2 seasons that Rich has pointed out. So hopefully these projections, like I said, they are spot on, right? We'll see some projections when it comes to the bullpen that make you scratch your head, but none of these projections are 100%. Nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know what the future is going to be. I guarantee you these same projections with Fangraph didn't have Garrett Cole winning the Cy Young for the 2023 season. I'll tell you that right now. But guys, we're going to switch it up. We're going to go to the bullpen. I see Michael Caputo is in the chat making life miserable for everybody. Caputo, calm down or you will be timed out, just like this is 5th grade. But I want to bring up another topic real quick. But before we do that, Rich, I want to ask you, bro, before we get into spring training, right? We're not that far away. Pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting on Valentine's Day. We're not that far away, less than 30 days from that. Do you feel the Yankees will add another starting pitcher, or is the rotation that we had on the screen just a little while ago, when it comes to the starters and when it comes to the depth, is that what the team is going to go with going into spring training? Is this set in stone right here?
I don't think they're going to add another major league starting pitcher, although I think they should. Like I just mentioned before, when you're going into the season and 3/5 of your rotation had missed several portions of 2023, I get a little bit worried that we could see a similar situation like last year, where it's Garrett Cole and Clark Schmidt getting the ball every 5th day, and then you have a rotation of 3 pitchers that are spending time on the IL. I think you need to go grab another starter. And I did mention Alex Cobb earlier. I actually want to address that. I was looking at the 2025 free agents. So he's not a free agent. So my bad. But he is a ground ball rate pitcher. So there's a possibility down the line if we need to get there. I think the Yankees do need to make another move for a starting pitcher. And if they don't, then the focus is the bullpen. They need another back end guy to pitch right next to Clay Holmes and Jonathan Loaisiga as part of maybe a 3 tandem deal. But yeah, I think that's the move they're going to end up making. I don't think they're going to add another starting pitcher, although I think they should.
Yeah. My guy TC Stills, I think he agrees with you. He says, unfortunately, not much out there for starters. Prices is too high, and trades are ridiculously. It's a high ask. 100%. And Caputo, I get it. You're speaking your mind, right? But you're repeating the same thing over and over and over again in the chat. Everybody, please be respectful to one another. Please, if the moderators have to time you out, the moderators will time you out. Unfortunately, we're just trying to have a good time. We're trying to have good conversations. I want the Yankees to win the championship, just like Rich wants the Yankees to win the championship, just like Damien, just like TC, just like Stephen B in the chat. But if it gets a little bit too disrespectful, some folks would be timed out. This is not kindergarten. Come on, my guys. I want to switch it up and talk about the bullpen, right? Because we had look, Aiden, my guy, you speaking? Are you watching me right now? Because I was literally about to pull up Hector Neris, who pitched with the Houston Astros over the past few seasons. The Yankees, I think they need to add an extra arm to the bullpen. You see the projections when we bring up the bullpen. And so why? Shout out to my guys over there at Fireside Yankees. They put this out. When it comes to Hector Neris over the past 2 seasons with the Houston Astros, the man then had a 2.69 ERA, a 3.10 FIP. 29% of the time he is striking his opponents out. 29.1% strikeout rate, 0.67 when it comes to home runs per 9 inning, and he has a 1.03 whip. Folks in the chat, thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know, is Hector Neris your guy? Richie Rivera, what's your thoughts?
I like it. I like Hector Neris. Again, it would add more personality to a very personality-heavy Yankees team. You imagine this team now with Stroman and Verdugo and Rodon, and now Neris. You see some of the videos of Neris getting big strikeouts in the playoffs and him jumping off the mound. You actually see it right here in this image. I think it's that, literally, it's that picture. So Hector Neris is a beast. I love him in the back end of the bullpen. Those numbers are electric there with Houston, a team that finds a way to get far into the playoffs. So this guy is known for pitching in big games. And I'm not saying Neris comes in and is your lights out 9th inning guy. I think I've always said I think that is a position that you need to build yourself into. I think you start the year with Holmes, but hey, if you need to mix and match with a Johnny Loaisiga and a Hector Neris, I think that could be an effective 3-headed monster in the back end of your bullpen. According to Spotrac, where Hector Neris he has a market value of $7.65 million. So, I mean, you can probably jump that up a little bit. This guy will probably earn somewhere in the 8 to 10, maybe $11 million range for a year. If it's a 2-year deal, then obviously spread the money out. I'm all for it. I would love to see a Hector Neris signing to the Bronx.
Yeah, 100%. And my TC Stills, again, shout out to my guy TC Skills, my co-host for every morning. He says Neris will be great. Holmes as a setup, Neris as a closer. Bullpen is back to being the best. And everybody in the chat, Anthony Medina is agreeing. My guy 01LS is agreeing. Stephen B, Mike Perez, everybody is agreeing when it comes to Hector Neris. And I kid you not, I swear on everything that is holy. You see the picture that's on the screen? I couldn't find a picture that wasn't him doing this. Every picture that was on Getty Images when it comes to Hector, he was screaming, jumping, carrying on. There was only one picture that wasn't, and it was like the team photos, but it was very bad lighting. I didn't want to use that one. But Mark Feinstein put this out right here. And I think this is a very important thing when it comes to Neris. Hector Neris markets, it's becoming active with the Yankees, with the Rangers emerging as potential front runners to sign the reliever, and as well, the Houston Astros. I think that the thing that's important about this signing is that not only will it help upgrade the Yankees bullpen, you're also taking away from the Houston Astros, who you most likely will be facing in the postseason. And at the same time, you stop the world champion Texas Rangers from getting even better. So there's three ways that this benefits the Yankees. One, makes their bullpen a hell of a lot better. And 2 and 3, you take away from both the Astros and you take away from the Texas Rangers as well. And like my guy Jonathan said, we got 45 likes and we got over 70 people in the building. If you guys can't smack that like button, if not, Hector Neris will be your new alarm and will wake you up in the morning. Rich Rivera, what's your thoughts on what I just brought up when it comes to Mr. Neris?
Oh, Hector Neris as an alarm clock would jump you right out of the bed into the shower when you have to set the alarm another 15 minutes of the snooze. Oh, man, I'm right up and ready to start my day with a Hector Neris alarm clock. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I get it. Like, you take away from the Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, who are on the west side, there's still plenty of high leverage relievers that they can still target to replace a guy like Neris, or in Texas's case, where Aroldis Chapman is a free agent. I mean, there is the Josh Hader thing that's still being thrown out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros or Rangers would respond and still get a guy who's going to help them in the back end of the pen. But yeah, we want to see the Yankees beat these two teams to the punch. And Hector Neris will give you a nice punch in the back end of that pen. Can you imagine this for a second? I just want to think about a bullpen. That's the three-headed monster I just brought up. Holmes, Loaiza, and Neris. Then you have Victor Gonzalez, the lefty. You have Ian Hamilton coming off a good year. You have Tommy Kahnle in his contract year. You have Scott Efros coming back off an injury. And then that last spot in the bullpen maybe could be just a spring training battle between whoever you have left. I think that's a solid bullpen to ride with, Heck.
No, I'm right there with you. And when we get into projections, you're going to see why I'm right there with you. Shout out to my guy, Austin Cruz, who is in the building from the BX Sports Jedi channel. Shout out to my guy, Austin. Austin, I hope everything is well with the family. Happy New Year's, happy holidays to you. He says, Neris being on the Yankees will be a positive move. He is a World Series champion, which I believe these Yankees need. They need guys who can teach them how to win, like Soto and like Rizzo. 100% Austin Cruz. You hit it right on the head. And my guy, Yohan Seco, who's in the building with an amazing puppy in the picture of the profile. I'm about to cry. But Yohan says, Neris doesn't rely on a hard fastball. So him being 34, it means nothing. And I'm right there with it. He is not a guy that relies heavy on a fastball that has to sit anywhere from 98, 99 miles per hour. He has a devastating changeup. He can get both righties and lefties out. And I think he would be a definite upgrade at the back end of the bullpen. A lot of Yankee fans, there's question marks when it comes to Clay Holmes. What version are we going to see Clay Holmes? Is it going to be the Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or is it going to be that lights out closer that we saw Clay Holmes have the potential to be when he was an all-star, that all-star season? Throw it over to you, Rich.
I mean, it's an interesting debate. I mean, I've been a Clay Holmes apologist because if you look at the numbers, you look at the overall numbers this guy's had since being traded to the Yankees. I mean, it's incredible stuff, and it's tops among most relief pitchers in baseball. I've also mentioned in the past how I feel the elite closer is a position that has slowly but surely phased out. There's not many elite closers in the game. And if you look at some of these elite closers, there's something against them that you can knock. You can knock an injury. You can knock a poor performance in the year prior. Josh Hader's thing, like, hey, he had a fantastic year at the San Diego Padres this past year. He was awful the previous year. So there is, again, the elite closer position is tough. And here's the other thing too, Heck, and I want to ask you, and almost ask the chat here too, what do you value more nowadays? Do you value the individual efforts from a relief pitcher, or do you value bullpen management? Where do you draw the line?
Man, that's one, it's a great question. And two, it's tough, man, because when you look at it, you want to have your dogs at the front part of your rotation, your 1, 2, and 3, that you can say is lights out, give them the ball, and you can guarantee 7 solid innings out of your starters. But at the end of it, when it comes to the last dynasty the Yankees had, we had Mariano Rivera at the end of that bullpen. And on top of it, we had other guys who could branch the bridge and get the ball or get the game from the 6th inning to the 9th inning. So it's a 50-50 on it. Right now, where I'm looking at the Yankees, I would say we would have to build up a bullpen and have that lights out bullpen rather than having the extra starters behind Garrett Cole. When you look at this rotation, so many different question marks, Rich, so many different question marks. We know Garrett Cole is a guarantee. Everything else, you're rolling the dice at this time. You're rolling the dice. I don't have confidence in any of the other guys that are in the starting rotation that they could back up Garrett Cole if we were in a 7-game series in the World Series. I don't have the confidence, but I know if we build the bullpen, we can get 5 solid innings out of Marcus Stroman, right? We could get 5 solid innings out of Nestor Cortez, maybe Carlos Rodon as well. So if we're able to build up that strong bullpen, we'll be able to close the gap and get the ball from the 6th inning to the 9th inning, if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. I understand what you're saying. I think Mike Perez actually just said it in the chat, and it's a great point where he says, we were spoiled with Mariano. Bullpen management is tough, but a good manager knows how to implement it. And he's absolutely right. I look at the 2 positions that the Yankees have had in the last few years that have the most eyes on it and the most pressure on it. One is closer. What do you think is the other position on the Yankees?
Say that again one time. You cut out. I couldn't hear you.
What 2 defensive positions have the most eyes and most pressure from the fans when in terms of the Yankees? Closer is definitely one.
Yeah. Closer is one. I would have to say shortstop, right? I think Anthony Volpe, even though he won a Gold Glove, fans are going to criticize him. Go ahead.
And I wonder why. Because the Yankees, for 20 years, were spoiled with 2 of the best Hall of Famers to do it. If Derek Jeter was a second baseman, second base would now be the position of pressure. If the Yankees never had Mariano Rivera, we would be having this conversation of having an elite closer every year to close out the game. I think it's a great point by Mike, and I think it's a lot of pressure as fans we put on this team to have the absolute best of the best at, even if we're strong in other areas that's going to make us a winning team.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. We were definitely spoiled when it comes to both the closer and the shortstop for the past 20 seasons, having Derek Jeter and having Mariano Rivera. It made you a little bit spoiled, Yankee fans, but let's look at the projections when it comes to this bullpen. I think after we have this conversation, I think some Yankee fans may be a little bit nervous because when you look at the projections for the Yankees bullpen, according to FanGraph in 2023, again, we got over 70 people in the building. If you guys can, smack that like button. We're sitting on 48 likes for the stream. Let's run it up. Let's get to 70 likes. But when you look at these projections, Clay Holmes, 66 innings, but a 3.24 ERA. Jonathan Loaisiga, 64 innings, 3.79 ERA. Tommy Kahnle, 63 innings, 3.89 ERA. Ian Hamilton, 62 innings, 3.51 ERA. I brought up those 4 pitchers specifically because as fans, when we look at our bullpen, we would normally say those are our A1 guys. Those are the guys we're going to go to when it comes to locking down the game and getting that save, especially when it comes to the closer role. We just got to figure out, is it going to be Clay Holmes, Loaisiga, Ian Hamilton, whatever. But what is alarming, not only those 4 pitchers that I named, but when you look on this list, Rich, there's not one reliever for ERA that's under 3. I think that's a cause for alarm. What's your thoughts on these projections, Rich?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you'd go from the best bullpen ERA last year to probably more of a mid-tier bullpen at best, and then you know, hey, if this team is in it, if this team with this bullpen's in it by mid-season, you know the move is going to be get a guy who's going to close games down or be an 8th inning guy. So again, these are just projections at the end of the day. You're also, you are realistically relying on Scott Effross and Jonathan Loaisiga to come in here and serve big purposes out of the bullpen, coming off of their injuries. It's tough. Unfortunately, this could be a reality, which kind of stinks. Which again, this is why you can't go into the season with just the current bullpen makeup that you have. You need to get somebody serviceable at the very end here. I mean, I'm going to try to highlight a couple of good ones here. I do like the fact that, hey, Luis Gil gets a go, 27 innings, 3.94 ERA. So maybe that's something that sets up for a 2025 start out of the bullpen in a high leverage spot. But I know he's someone worth mentioning too. I know a lot of fans want to see Luis Gil crack a spot out of the Yankees bullpen, and to serve as a long reliever, much akin to Johnny Brito, I think would be a nice role for a guy like Luis Gil.
Yeah, and I think the Yankees, they got to bring back Wandy Peralta, right? When you look at the free agent market, there's not that many lefty relievers that are out there that you feel comfortable with. If you got to give a 1 year or a 2 year deal to Wandy Peralta, I'd rather give it to Wandy. At least we know what Wandy is. He was successful here with us. You know, Booney may overuse him last year, but I can't go into the season with Nick Ramirez as my number one go-to lefty coming out of the pen. Nick Ramirez can't be the number one lefty coming out of the pen. I'm sorry, right? And when you look at these fan projections from FanGraph of 4.29 ERA, I'm sorry. I think the chat would agree with me. I don't think Nick Ramirez is the person that we want coming out of that bullpen as the number one lefty option. I appreciate those in the chat, the moderators in the chat who was able to take care of that bot that was in the chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate the bots giving us the views, but we don't appreciate what the bots say in the chat. So yeah, let me know in the chat. What's your thoughts? You guys comfortable with Nick Ramirez? I know I'm not. Let me know if you guys want Wandy Peralta back. What's your thoughts, Rich?
Well, TC actually mentioned, I was going to throw it in there, Victor Gonzalez right now would be the primary lefty in the current Yankees bullpen makeup, who was acquired from the Dodgers in the deal that sent Sweeney over.
Yes.
As far as lefties go, I agree with you 100%. I think out of all the lefties available in free agency, I think Peralta is the one that makes the most sense to reunite with. Otherwise, if you're gonna run down the list here, and if we're not including Hector, if we're just gonna go with a 7th, 8th inning pure pitcher like that, Aaron Loop, Matt Moore, Aroldis Chapman. Not the best of options compared to what we already know. So, yeah, I think Peralta's got to be a guy that they have to consider bringing in. Now, Hector, is it possible that they might scoop up both Wandy and Neris, or is it now a situation of either or?
I would say both. I don't think either or. If it was the either or route, Rich, then I want Neris. Then I want the righty. I want the guy who is more of a lockdown than what we have at the end of the bullpen, especially when you look at these projections. So I'll take Neris over Wandy, but I will rather them do both. Now, I want to ask you now, pivot, because I see folks in the chat. There's another big-time lefty that's a reliever out there on the market, Mr. Josh Hector. I know Hector he's commanding big-time money. He's commanding Edwin Diaz money. Do you want the Yankees? They were willing to give Yamamoto the $30 million. They gave 18 of it, to Marcus Stroman, leaves about $11.5 to $12 million left over. Do you want them to give that plus a little bit more to Mr. Hector?
Well, if you include the Luke Weaver too, it's actually going to be 9.5 plus. But no, you have to think about it. Hector's going to probably warrant somewhere close to a $20 million deal, which is more than your projected 3-star of the rotation. And let's remember here, guys, we still have to pay Juan Soto next year. So the more money you put out for Hector, and Hector's not going to ask for a 1-year contract, by the way, it's less money you're taking out of the Juan Soto fund. And I hate to say it like that because it's the New York freaking Yankees. There shouldn't be anything called a fund associated with the Yankees.
Yeah.
The good news is, you kind of alluded it to before earlier, Heck, there is a lot of money coming off the books. If you're going to include Anthony Rizzo's club option not getting exercised, you're looking close to $88 million in payroll coming off the books, which is more than enough to at least get a Soto deal done. But again, if you add Josh Hector to that, now you're probably not looking that good in terms of trying to offer him a contract or even a blank check without even thinking twice about it. I'm a no on Josh Hector. Absolute hard passing no.
And one thing you forgot to mention when it comes to Hector, he has a qualifying offer, right? So the Yankees will have to give up 2 draft picks. The Yankees will have to forfeit $1 million when it comes to international signing. The Yankees just signed 9 international free agents the other day, and the Yankees, according to different executives, last week, they were voted as the #1 team that uses the international free agent market. So that right there is something the Yankees bank on, right? So I see people's frustrations, but when it comes to Hader, you're not saying no because he's bad. You're saying no because he may be his asking price is going to be a little bit too expensive, and you're more worried about signing Juan Soto. Am I right for saying that, Rich? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, 100%. No, you nailed it. 100%. If Hader's contract expectations come a little bit down to reality, it's a conversation to be had. But I highly doubt it. Again, back to the elite closer conversation. Yeah, he's in the top echelon of closers in the game. If you look at his last year alone. Again, the Yankees are a team also that can find a pitcher from obscurity and turn him into gold. So why would you send $20 million towards a closer? You can build these pitchers up if you really wanted to. I have high expectations for a guy like Luis Gil in the Yankees farm. I think he could be great. So I trust the organization from building relief pitchers up that they're grabbing from obscurity than just offering $20 million to Josh Hader and calling it a day.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you when it comes to that. The Yankees, especially Brian Cashman, over the past few years, they've been able to find the most obscure diamonds in the rough. Ian Hamilton, perfect example. Clay Holmes, perfect example. Yes. We developed Jonathan Loaizica. Ron Marinaccio, he looked promising until he was overused. I want to call that the Scott Proctor effect, just like Wandy Peralta. But Ron Marinaccio is another guy we was able to develop, right? We got Scott Efros from the Chicago Cubs. That was a guy that very low-key, under the radar move when it comes to what we gave up to get Scott Efros, and he has control. I think he has like 2 or 3 more years of control. Same thing like Clay Holmes. We traded that guy Park and another pitcher for, but they were 2 young minor leaguers that they weren't even top 10 prospects, that they were just having good seasons that the Yankees sent to Pittsburgh in order to get Clay Holmes. So I think those are the moves that Brian Cashman will make if any moves are to happen with the bullpen. I don't think a Josh Hader will happen. There's more. I have more faith in Hector Neris than I do having of a Josh Hader signing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I wanted to call out an article that I read recently from Gary Phillips over at the New York Daily News, where he was talking about the current payroll and the estimated payroll according to Cott's contracts. I don't know, Hector, what you use exactly for contract. I know Spot Track is out there as a popular one, but I know there's several different ones that kind of figure out.
I use Stat Track.
Stat Track. All right, I'll add that to the bookmarks. All right, so $304.3 million is what the current payroll is being estimated by Cott's contracts. It includes all agreed upon deals, including arbitration cases, the Weaver deal, the Stroman deal. So this would be the first time that the Yankees exceed the $300 million payroll under the CBT. So I thought that was an interesting note, and they brought up a quote from Hal Steinbrenner saying, you don't need a $300 million team to win a World Series. And I know there's going to be a lot of fans who are going to take that the wrong way. But isn't he absolutely right? Isn't he absolutely right when you look at the last few years of World Series winners?
He is absolutely right? Because none of those teams that won the World Series over the past few years cracked that $300 million threshold, right? And when it comes to this team, I know there's a lot of Yankee fans that are frustrated with the outcome of this offseason. We got Juan Soto, which was amazing. We struck out on Yamamoto. I get that. I understand that. I feel for you because I have the same pain that you feel. But you cannot tell me the roster that we have right now is better than the team that finished the season last year 82-80. Just adding Juan Soto to the lineup, right? 82-80 was our record last year. The wild card team in the American League, I think, was at 91, 92 wins. For the hell of it, let's just say 93 wins. Having Juan Soto in our lineup with a healthy Aaron Judge, knock on wood, he's not running into any goddamn walls this season, but having a healthy Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in the lineup for 162, that doesn't get us 10-plus wins to get us to that last wild card spot. Playoffs, it may not get us over the threshold to the World Series that some fans may want, but hey, wild card teams win the postseason, win the World Series.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Rich.
It's so hard. It's so tough to just not only win a World Series, but just get to a World Series nowadays. With all the different rule changes we've seen over the years and how they've structured the series, we've seen a crapshoot of teams win. The Texas Rangers and Arizona Diamondbacks. Did anybody have the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks making it to the freaking World Series last year? Anybody have the Nationals winning the World Series in 2019? Did anybody have the Phillies making the World Series in 2022? I can run down. Did anybody have the Yankees in 2017 after a rebuild making as far as Game 7 of the LCS?
Nope. Absolutely not.
It's a crapshoot. And at this rate, I think Cashman, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I believe he was, and I'm about to look it up. I believe Cashman was quoted saying that he prioritized making it to the playoffs. Because at that point, anything can happen. Anybody can have the best 11 games. Be a playoff team. Put yourself in a good position going into the playoffs. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. Again, right? We're adding to the team another big time bat in Juan Soto, right? So we'll have Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, granted, if everyone's healthy, for 162 games. On top of that, like TC just put in the chat, we're going to have Jason Dominguez when he comes back. We saw what Jason did in September. Now, I'm not saying he's going to have that same momentum he had in September for the rest of the season. No. But I think Jason Dominguez coming up halfway during the season, knowing that as Yankee fans, that right there makes us a better team. Having Anthony Volpe year 2 after winning a Gold Glove and after having his first season in the big leagues, ups and downs, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, has to improve on his batting average. You cannot tell me Anthony Volpe's not going to come back as a better player next year. Austin Wells as a catcher next year with the New York Yankees. Jose Trevino coming back from wrist injury. We will have a better team next year. Now, it may not be as shiny, as bright as the Dodgers. I get that. And some Yankee fans, voice your opinion. Let them know how frustrated you are when it comes to the state of the Yankees. But the way that this organization handles their minor league system, what we have in the pipeline coming down when it comes to the minor leagues, it should have Yankee fans excited for this upcoming season, regardless of what happened this offseason. What's your thoughts, Rich?
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a better team. It's a better team on paper already. It was a better team the moment they made those 2 trades for Soto, Grisham, and Verdugo. Those 2 trades alone addressed a major area of concern in the Yankees lineup. An area of concern even when things were going good. When you have one of the greatest advantages in all of sports with that right field porch in Yankee Stadium, and you've had maybe one lefty or one switch hitter in your lineup, it's not good. Not good optics. Take advantage of the best advantage that you have in baseball. And so adding Juan Soto, who's arguably the best left-handed hitter that would have been I take it back. The best left-handed hitting outfield that could have been available. And you got him, along with Grisham, who is a plus defender, and Verdugo, who doesn't swing and miss often, and can hit for some pop too, and I think it's going to translate well at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees addressed the biggest concern they had in that lineup in 2 moves. So regardless of how the rest of the offseason was going to land, you have to be happy with that foundational move, Hector.
No, you have to be. And again, I see Caputo in the chat. I get it. He says, I don't care about the farm system. I care about winning a World Series in 24 and 24 only. Point blank, period. Screw the farm system and payroll. If you trade for Soto, then you're forced to go all in. No one's saying that the Yankees aren't. Myself or Rich, nobody is saying that. Nobody in the chat is saying that. But you cannot say screw the farm system, because the last time the Yankees had a dynasty was because of their farm system. Jeter wasn't a free agent. Mariano wasn't a free agent. Pettit, Posada, Bernie, those weren't free agents. Those were homegrown talents. And that's what you have to have. You have to be able to develop homegrown talent. And then you use your mighty checkbook as the New York Yankees to sprinkle around next to those homegrown talent. It just didn't work out. The last group of talent of young kids we had that came up, the only one that hit was Aaron Judge. Right? Gary Sanchez didn't work out. Clint Frazier didn't work out. Luis Severino is going to be pitching in Queens this season. He didn't work out. Hopefully, when you look at this next group of talent that we have right now, those other prospects that I named, they were never ranked as high as Jason Dominguez. They were never ranked as high as Spencer Jones. They were never top 50 prospects like the Yankees have right now at this moment. So you should be excited for that. Sorry, I was a bit long-winded, Rich, when it came to that one.
No, you're right, though. I mean, even look at some of the teams in baseball that have stayed in the conversation of being a World Series contender. I love what the Braves are doing. I don't know if there are any Met fans in here, so I hate saying if there are any Met fans in here, but what the Braves have done is perfect because they took a gamble on their farm system, on their international signings. They extended these guys two months into their playing days, which is kind of crazy. But they took that chance, and that chance seems to be paying off because then the only couple moves they needed to make on the trade market or free agency were to fix the holes that they had. You know, they had a weird issue with Freddie Freeman. They moved on from Freddie Freeman. They've got the next best thing in Matt Olson. I love how the Braves have their team established, and now they're at a point where they can absorb bad contracts to take a chance, and that's what they have done this offseason with guys like Chris Sale. They took on Jared Kelenic, who's a controversial name with Seattle because he was supposed to be this big thing, and there were some clubhouse issues there, and now they're going to take that chance on with him. But the Braves are able to do it. So I would love to see the Yankees kind of model after what Atlanta's doing. I know that's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask for, but we'll see. I think the Braves though have it the best in terms of Major League Baseball, how to set up a team.
Yeah, shout out my guy JC that's in the chat. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. We just reached 8:15. We're gonna be rocking out just for a little bit longer before we close it out. But we got over 64, 70 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button. And again, if you're watching this for the first time, hit the subscribe button, folks. I forgot I had something pre-ready when it came about Marcus Stroman that I just wanted to read and just bring this up, right? When it comes to Marcus Stroman, right, and this is from my guy Joe Randanzo, Librarian Joe on Twitter. When it comes to Marcus Stroman doesn't need to be your friend. He just needs to give you, he just needs to give the Yankees quality innings. In 2023, the Yankees were 19th in innings pitched by their starters. First was Seattle with 901 innings pitched, and then the Yankees, they were out the bottom half at 820 innings. They were in 19th in Major League Baseball. When you look at their pitching staff and at a whole, when it comes to the bullpen and the starters as a whole, the Yankees staff, they had a 3.97 ERA. That was 9th in Major League Baseball. If Stroman stays healthy, he's a big addition. Then you have Luke Weaver, right? He might seem like a throw-in, sign away, but somebody has to go out there and take the garbage time and pitch those garbage innings. So like I said, and like Librarian Joe said, right? Marcus Stroman doesn't have to be your friend. We're not asking you to be his friend. If you don't want to hear what Marcus Stroman writes on Twitter, just block him. Just block him. He got me blocked on Twitter. Just block him so you don't got to see what he writes and he don't got to see what you write, right? That's the only thing I'm going to say when it comes about that and Marcus Stroman, and be excited for this season. Go ahead, Rich.
What you do to piss off Marcus Stroman?
No, I'm bullshit. He don't got me blocked.
Like I said, I was never friends with him personally on Twitter. I didn't want to get into the nonsense, but yeah, man. Listen, none of these guys have to be your friend, right? As long as these guys are staying healthy and doing their thing. Isn't everybody going to be behind them at the end of the day? If they're successful, they're putting in the innings, they're staying healthy, they're pitching in the biggest games, they're getting the biggest Ks, they're getting the biggest wins. That's the best way that Stroman could mend fences with everybody in terms of New York, between the media. I know there was the issue with Michael Kay, and I saw that was a mention there as, hey, he should apologize to Michael Kay. I think the best way he can apologize to everybody is just performance. Just performance, man. Get on that mound every 5th day, do your thing. Maybe stay off of social media just a little bit.
Yeah. And to be a little bit fair, the stuff that came out about Brian Cashman at first was because Brian Cashman, he clapped first. Brian Cashman said, "Oh, we didn't value Marcus Stroman. That was the year he was traded to the Mets. We didn't value Marcus Stroman. If anything, he would have been pitching out of our bullpen." And that's when Marcus Stroman clapped back on Brian Cashman, right? But like my guy Damian Serrano put in the chat earlier, seeing that Marcus Stroman, right, was big enough to say, I want to have that meeting with Brian Cashman. Let's have this conversation. That goes to show you maturity, right? If we learn anything, if this is the Reading Rainbow, maturity is the word of the day, right? Brought to you by our sponsors over on PBS, right? My guy Acevedo with the $2 super chat. They could be ranked number 1 in the universe. The Yankees won't use them. Now, I see what you're talking about. I could be a little bit frustrated at times when it comes to how the Yankees manage their prospects and when they use them and when they don't use them, or when they think that they're ready when they're not really ready. So yeah, that's a bit frustration when it comes to that. But Rich, before we get out of here, I want to throw it over to you because I know you and the fellas this Monday that's coming up, you got something special. Let the folks in the chat knows what's happening this Monday. And again, make sure you guys are subscribed Empire State of Baseball. Make sure you follow my guy Richie Rivera on all social media platforms. I think Jacob Petruzzi, or if somebody can throw Richie's channel in the chat so everybody can sub to it. Go ahead, Rich.
I appreciate it. I actually saw Jacob throw it in, so thank you very much, Jacob, for that. And I actually want to shout out Mike Parziali, who's in our chat. He's also a supporter of Empire State of Baseball. He's always in our chat of the show, so good to see him over here on the Yankees Morning Brew. Special shout out to my 3 co-hosts. I'm one of those co-hosts. Corey Favs, Tom Waspel, and Joe Puglisi of Empire State of Baseball, which, of course, is a 4-man hosted podcast live stream. Just how Hector has it set up here on YouTube. We go live. Usually we go live every Monday, but we're currently in off-season mode, so our episodes are on a sporadic basis. Once March hits, we're going to be back on a weekly basis, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That is Empire State of Baseball, so give us a follow and some love on our YouTube channel. On our socials, that's at ESB Podcast on X and at Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. Hector mentioned it before. This Monday, we will be live for our Hall of Fame special. This is the second year we're doing this. We've been running a ballot on our X page. So if you go to our X page, it's actually a pinned comment. You'll see the ESBB WAA ballot on our X page. So if you can, find that ballot, fill that ballot out, submit it back to us, message us, comment to us. Regardless, it's going to be counted because just like maybe the members of the real BBWAA, you at home is a member of the ESBWAA. So coming Monday, we'll be revealing those results live on our show for our 8 p.m. Eastern Time Hall of Fame special. That is this Monday, January 22nd on YouTube. So give us a love, follow, and check out the show. Thank you.
Guys, make sure you guys tune in this Monday night. You know, the Hall of Fame ballot. You know, next Tuesday is when we're going to have the conversation about the Hall of Fame. But make sure you guys tune in this Monday, Empire State of Baseball. My guy, Richie Rivera, and the fellas holding them down over there. But before we get out of here, we got a few more minutes to chit-chat, wrap things up. With the rumors that have been circulating, obviously, this offseason has been hit or miss when it comes to these rumors, right? You don't know what's real. You don't know what's fake. You don't know what's something that was just shit thrown against the wall to see if it's stuck. But I'm going to throw it over to you, Rich. What has been your thoughts with this roller coaster of an off season when it comes to the reporting?
Awful. The reporting is awful. And I was not going to just answer with just one word. It's been terrible. And between the professionals that we see, the professionals that we trust, that have been so back and forth. I mean, look at, I hate the name call here, but I'm going to. Bob Nightingale. I mean, Bob Nightingale had a 24-hour span where he said Stroman had no connections to the Yankees and there was no mutual interest, to the next day saying that there's been interest since the GM meetings. Mm-hmm. So we need to do a better job with our sources. Now, again, I'm not deep into the field where I know what actually goes on and what's confirmed a good source or not. But I'd like to think that I'd like to go down the route of somebody who's going to get all the facts, the numbers before reporting it. And then for our people in the community who run a page, just like me and Heck, and maybe are just throwing out something because they heard a little quote, or they're just kind of spinning the words said by a Jim Bowden or Mark Feinstein. You gotta be able to source the material. You gotta be able to look and source the material. A lot of people are getting spammed by spam accounts that are spam accounts, and people know them as spam accounts. How many times I've gotten an email or a text with a Jeff Passon tweet? Do you not read the sources, guys? Come on, do better. But yeah, we got to do a better job all together. Professionals, amateurs, all together. We all need to do better with that because you guys are misleading people, and you're really giving me serious heart palpitations this offseason.
For me, I know when I was in school, my professors, always told me to cite my sources, right? Cite
sir.
my sources. Like Rich said, you guys got to be able to cite your sources, right? Right now, when it comes to news that's out there, it's pretty dead, right? It's a very dead and slow time right now when it comes to the news that is out there when it comes to Major League Baseball. So, it kind of gets hard putting these shows together. So if you guys can, smack the like button, help out your fellow content creators out there that are putting out this amazing work this off season to keep us all entertained before spring training, which is a few weeks away, around the corner. But no, I gotta agree with you, Rich. When it comes to the reporting this off season, it's been stale. It's been all over the place. No one's citing their sources. You got people saying Ohtani is going to Toronto when he was already in LA waiting to sign with the Dodgers. That was a bit funny. The Juan Soto thing was hysterical. His barbers were dropping news out there, and it was more reliable news than any one of the blue check marks that are out there on Twitter. But no, make sure, like I said, make sure you guys tune in this Monday to my guy Rich over there, Empire State of Baseball. Folks in the chat, appreciate you guys like always. Salute, 3 capital S's. We are sitting at 2,862 on the subscribers. We are 138 subscribers away from 3,000. So if you guys are watching this on the playback, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. And my guy Cadzilla said to Caputo, if the Yankees make the playoffs, you have to shave your goddamn head.
No.
And Caputo, if the Yankees make the postseason, I will go to Bensonhurst. I will go to Long Island. I will go to wherever you're at right now, and I will kidnap you, and I will shave your head live on the stream like you were hog-tied at the farm. I promise to be nice, though. Rich, any last words for the chat before we get out of here?
Oh my goodness, that would be a sight. Yeah, everybody, great job tonight. Great show. Heck, thanks for having me on. Shout out to everybody involved with Yanks Brew. I know Kelso had a day off. Celso had a day off. I mean, what's going on? No Celso today, unfortunately. But shout out to him. Shout out to TC, Dom, Ruben, all the guys in the chat, all the great guys in the chat. It's a lot of fun participating in the chat with y'all, and I'll be back with you for the next show.
Nice. Yes. Eddie Snap says Bensonhurst is in the building. Absolutely. Again, appreciate you guys. Stephen B says great show. You guys were great in the chat. Until next time, drink your water, say something nice about yourselves. And until then, deuces. Bye-bye.